Here we go.
Got everything?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Here, honey. An offering for the king.
See you later, Mom.
Listen to your teacher, okay? And, give the king my best.
Dance with an angel, Mom.
Yeah. Maybe we'll tango today instead of waltz. That's our way of saying goodbye. My husband is an Air Force pilot and refers to fighter planes as angels. When he'd go on a mission that kept him away from home, I'd tell him in frustration to go dance with his angels. Matilda grew up hearing this, and now she uses it all the time. There's a nice view of the King's Bridge from our house. That iron giant is the pride of Grace Maria, our capital city. In the old quarter of the city beyond the bridge, you can make out an ancient castle, which is even more famous than the bridge. My daughter Matilda is going there on a field trip today. In the throne room rests the Golden King. He's been smiling for a good 600 years now. The king was a gentle person who was a bit on the small side, but he crafted a giant suit of armor that convinced his enemies to surrender without a single fight. Afterwards, they found such warmth in his smile that they bowed down to him in humility. Anyway, that's how the story goes. His smiling face still touches the hearts of our people. The very face my daughter and the others got on a bus to see this morning.
That was a brand new day.
The song on the radio seems to be a perfect match for the sunny weather.
Radio's taking all of your favorite requests.
I have no idea what's happening. That awful sound and the shaking. Was that a blast of wind from an explosion? The castle disappeared behind a pillar of flame. Fire and smoke rises from the city before me. The King's Bridge is gone. Oh no. No! Matilda! I vaguely hear a scream of terror that sounds much like my own voice from afar. I feel as though the Golden King's gentle smile is moving farther away from me. Every now and then, I tell my daughter the story of the night some years ago. A night when the sky was radiant with shooting stars. That night, your father and I made countless wishes together. An asteroid called Ulysses came into Earth's orbit and disintegrated into millions of pieces, which poured down on the land below. As we watched the shooting stars that night, fragments from the asteroid rained down on our eastern neighbor, Slovakia, damaging a great deal of their infrastructure and devastating their economy. Soon after, the news reported that their nation had fallen into a civil war, one that would last for years. Eventually, the internal strife was brought to an end when the generals came into power. In the midst of hardship, The citizens of Slovakia were convinced that the only way they could recover as a nation was to rely on a military government led by these generals. Before long, they went so far as to invade our nation, the Republic of Ameria. Our military was forced to retreat to Kesid, an island far to the west. My husband, a fighter pilot, also hasn't come home since. I walk on. I am unable to think. All I can do is follow the others. Ever since we came to the twisted remains of my daughter's school bus, my soul has left me. I am empty. Some of our tanks are parked at the approach to the bridge.
Let's pick up the pace, people! There's a train still running on the other side of the river. She goes all the way out to the edge of the border. We've got to blast this bridge before the enemy gets a hold of it. So move it or lose it, people!
Here I see the wreckage of a jet that was shot down. On what's left of the nose, I can make out some writing. Melissa. It's my name. What a cruel twist of fate for me to see this. My pilot husband, who had left for work that day with the same loving look on his face as always. He had painted my name on his angel. I go into the crowd on the train and endure 2 weeks of pure hell before finally ending up at a refugee camp at the border. I don't know any of the names on the list. My compatriots, who have now become refugees, gather around a single radio to listen to the broadcast. Even though the station is broadcasting out of Gracemeria, occupying forces have taken complete control of the airwaves. The enemy must have completely overtaken our capital, Gracemeria.
And although newer parts of the city have suffered considerable damage, the castle and a significant section of the old quarter have escaped relatively unscathed.
The castle's okay.
However,
Thank God.
the announcer went on to say that our castle was robbed of countless antiquities that once were elaborately displayed in our castle. Stripped bare.
As the Slovakian military, it is our sworn duty to govern this crumbling nation and get it back on its feet, starting right here in Gracemeria. I found a group of street children in front of the central station here, where the area has literally been reduced to a slum. Step on up here, little girl. What do you have to say about all this?
Go dance with the angels, mister.
My ears were not deceiving me. That voice belonged to my daughter, Matilda.
I am Lieutenant Colonel Wojciech of the Slovakian Air Force. I arrived on a train to Gracemeria. To my detriment, I sustained a leg injury in the early stages of the war, relegating me to ground duty. I am now working as an intelligence officer for the Air Force. The ceiling has collapsed in the central station. From there, the city appears resigned to its fate beneath the Slovakian flag. What a pitiful sight. But at least there are no craters to mar the land. They are lucky in that sense.
dance with the angels!
There goes my spare clothing. They will not be so lucky with these documents. What a miserable city this must be, with their children in such a state. The fine works of art, once displayed in this castle, were completely gone before the occupation forces arrived. Even the ancient armor of the Golden King, the collective heart and soul of the city's people, along with the crown, have disappeared without a trace. I must relay this unfortunate information back to the generals in my country. They were quite fond of those antiquities.
My daughter is alive somewhere in Grace Maria. It took me days to get here. Days of walking. But I know this road ends somewhere up ahead. There was no need to think about how to cross the river. Didn't that soldier on the tank say they were going to destroy this bridge before the enemy came? I start to feel as if things never go as they are said to.
So this guy's up next, huh? Hope he's happy with my name, rank, number, and birthday. 'Cause that's all he's gonna get out of me. He's all skin and bones, with eyes like a hawk. But that badge, and the cane. Old Hawkeye's here must have broken his wings in combat. Hey, look at me. I'm no different. The sky I took for granted now seems so far away. Now that my little adventure here with Hawkeyes is over, all that awaits me is a prison cell.
These prisoners have lost their will to fight. The American military administration is broken. They have nobody in power to provide the support they need. It's only a matter of time before they collapse.
Our post to the Iron Bridge was shot to hell by enemy aircraft. Those ever-so-helpful choppers were nice enough to wait until the last second to come bail us out of that death trap. The three of us are all that's left of our company. Sergeant Torch is our driver. He never knows when to shut up. Sergeant Hobsbawm, who never says a damn thing, mans the gun. And I'm Sergeant McKnight, the captain. Since we're all sergeants, we had to draw straws for the captain's seat. And the winner is yours truly. I'd live sweet and easy on this island for the rest of my days if I could. The Flyboys, on the other hand, are workaholics. They drove a whole mess of enemy troops off this rock. And that's why we're holed up in this damn landing ship playing five-card stud. I don't know what those Flyboys are trying to pull, but this is the worst landing operation I've ever heard of. I always knew Donnie had sticky fingers. Apparently he was robbing banks before he joined the service. What an idiot.
Come on, just hear me out. About 5 years ago, before I joined the military, I was digging a tunnel straight towards Grace Maria's central bank when...
Donnie says the Estavakians haven't been able to get the safe open yet.
1 foot short of the wall.
He also says he dug an underground tunnel that got him within a few feet of the vault. Is this guy for real? But if he really dug a tunnel that close to the vault, I just want to know one thing. What the hell are we still doing here? Once we're back on the mainland, we've got to get to that bank before the Estavakians get their filthy paws on our loot. What do we got to lose?
I had no idea. I should have thought more about the kind of people who would be traveling to Grace Maria. Now that we're in the midst of war. Her name is Ludmilla. She was an Estavakian medical student studying in Nordernavik, a neutral country. Her boyfriend is a soldier in the Estavakian military. She firmly believes that going to Grace Maria will somehow reunite them. It took a long time to get even that much out of her. Most of the time, she hardly says a word. We're certainly an odd pair of travel companions. 2 women, hopelessly in search of their loved ones. Maybe it's the language barrier. But talking doesn't seem to be our strong point. But I feel we share a common goal that goes far beyond words.
Who does this guy think he is? No way we'd ever lose to a bunch of guys like this.
Enough already. Take him away.
Lieutenant, I got a little piece of advice for you. Go dance with the angels. Come on! Except I'll bet you couldn't dance your way out of a paper bag.
The prisoners are much different than before. They finally have some backbone and are brimming with confidence. It must be that pilot they're all so fond of that is fueling the fires. Apparently, he fought his way through insurmountable odds to help his fellow soldiers.
Go dance with the angels.
Another defiant one.
I feel so lucky to have met up with Ludmilla. We've run into so many checkpoints. I don't know what we would have done without her passport. I don't think I ever would have made it alone. But as we travel through these wide open spaces, enemy troops are few and far between. Actually, we've been on this road for quite some time now, without spotting a single Estavakian military vehicle. It looks like our luck has just run out. These men are partisans. A Marian like me. Ludmilla stares at me. I can see the fear in her eyes. I tried to explain to them that Ludmilla is no threat. She is a student from Nordernavik. But I've never been much of a liar.
She definitely speaks the language, but with a thick Estovakian accent.
Don't waste your ammo.
Just then, something roars in the sky above.
Hey, look! What's going on?
I know it's our only chance of escape.
Get in! Hurry!
Fire! Damn!
On the battlefield, you have to put luck aside and take what you get, good or bad. My fellow countrymen were killed instead of me, and that gives me an eerie sense of relief. But now I've got to accept the fact that I am the next target. It's time for me to dance with the angels. Our car has died directly under an aerial battle. The engine managed to get us this far, but it's been destroyed by machine gun fire. This pilot is from Ludmila's homeland. She asks the crashed pilot about a name, asking if he has any information, but the pilot takes a turn for the worse. Just before all this, he seemed to be mumbling a name. Garuda. He's the one that shot me down. I know exactly what she's going through, why she's overcome with such emotion. My husband could have very well ended up like this. And now I know. The one she loves is a pilot as well. As we save a man's life on this wide-open plain, we both begin to realize what we share, how much we have in common.
Lieutenant Colonel!
This man was once a pupil of mine. Many years have passed since then, but Lieutenant Commander Pasternak still has that same spark of confidence in his eyes he had as a young man.
Glad to see you are looking well.
He was brought here to help us turn the war in our favor. Now that he has been promoted to captain of the Strigan team, he is sure to be a thorn in the side of the American military.
Don't leave your baggage. It may be uncomfortable, but keep it hidden behind your back.
Huh?
Trust me, it is how things are done here.
I asked him if he knew Garuda won.
Know him? My sole reason of being sent here was to fight him.
He smiled to hide the rage within him. That should have been my passion, my fire. But things have changed. This man is about to step into the world I once knew. My days in this sky are behind me now. The bitter taste of loneliness is all I have left.
This is my girl, no matter how bad things may look down here. We will not be defeated with me and this baby. I also like our chances with the new captain in charge. He feels more like an older brother.
than some pushy authority figure.
Tosha, give me one of those apples you have there. Then go have a dance with the angels, will ya? Tosha, come now, Tosha. You'd better learn more control than that if you want to impress your sweetheart. Terrible, I tell ya.
At least I have a sweetheart to speak of, sir.
I could have any woman I want if I made the effort.
I can't argue with him there. If he was serious enough, and I was a woman, I would probably fall for him myself. Even though we have overtaken the city, he tends to listen to Ameria Independence Radio, an ongoing pirate broadcast.
Listen, they're talking about the Golden King again. It's as if they're mourning the loss of a flesh and blood king. It'd really be something if they got it back somehow. Makes you wonder.
My older brother seems to have a soft spot for the poor and downtrodden in this city. There's no way in hell we are going to lose this war.
With the smile of their golden king wiped away for good, and the ground war nearly upon us, the citizens here are losing faith. Through special intelligence, we confirmed the existence of the enemy ace pilot, Garuda-1. It seems he has fallen into some kind of predicament within his own ranks. His fiercest rival, Lieutenant Commander Pasternak, is naturally worried about the possibility of Garuda-1 losing his position. After lecturing Pasternak to hold on to his baggage, I feel like a damned hypocrite. Undergarments and trousers can be replaced, but I cannot afford to lose the contents of that briefcase.
Enemy alert! It's an Astovakian soldier! No!
It's okay, everyone. Don't worry, he's alone. Hold him back so he can't get out to tell the others.
Street children have turned this rotting underground passage into a hideout. I guess that explains how they eluded security forces during the sweep. I've already seen the notification. Today, in this very area, the initial demolition for the Grace Maria fortification construction is to be carried out. The tremors have triggered an ancient trapdoor, unused for some 600 years. And now, we have lost our way out of here.
Everyone, hurry, back to your rooms!
We are huddled together in this cramped room. There is no way out for any of us. One boy is called Radio, aptly named considering he never parts with his own. He's spouting off code words used by the American fighter pilots as he takes on the role of a jet himself.
Hey, kid!
This child's family owned and operated a well-known restaurant in the city. His father was a talented chef, and his mother a humble young waitress. They were both killed, their restaurant destroyed, all because of our aerial assaults. She proudly sings a song that was sung by her nation's pilots. I had this image in my mind of street children being a symbol of strife and despair brought on by the horrors of war. Now that I've had a closer look, I'm beginning to see something quite different. These children are lonely, but full of pride for their nation's pilots, always with them in spirit. Even with my crippled leg, I feel as though I could dance the night away with an angel. These children were hiding their treasure, their golden king, protecting it at all costs, keeping it safe from us, the invaders.
As we walked the long road, Ludmilla and I came across an unusual tank. I seem to remember this man from somewhere. What is his tank doing out here away from all the action? I thought the front lines were a bit more to the west.
Why don't you ladies go on ahead? We've got to figure out some way to sneak this hunk of metal into town.
All right then. Good luck. Bank job, boys.
See ya. Best get out of here. Have a nice dance with the angels now.
My family's inside joke has become quite the buzzword. Even the captain uses it to say goodbye. But it feels strange to hear others say it. We're almost there. And then I saw something horrible. Grace Maria, or what's left of it, was transformed into a heavily armed fortress. The Estovakian military intends to fight to the bitter end. She stares up at them, holding on to some sort of premonition.
I opened the briefcase that the children kindly returned to me. This mandate has been sealed for so long, but the time has come to break that seal. This is...
All right! The vault is on the other side of those crosshairs.
Hobbs bomb, take aim!
Screw this war! We're gonna live like kings!
And fire! I knew Donnie wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but I never imagined he was this stupid. For all we know, this tunnel could be off by a damn mile. But it doesn't even matter. We've got a mountain of genuine treasure right here in front of us.
So, now what?
Now what, he says. My calculations are correct. I'd say it's too big to put in our damn pockets.
I was picturing the city to be a darker, more depressing place, but nothing like this. The people look cheerful. Some are even smiling. It was all about to make perfect sense.
Testing 1, 2. The war is over. I repeat, the war is over.
The people are learning to smile again. Matilda. Matilda!
Mommy! Mommy!
And finally, I was reunited with my daughter. My angel.
Mom, dance with me.
The red alert has been called off. I repeat, the red alert has been called off.
The air raid suddenly eased up, like a passing shower. Having hidden in there, with our heads covered for so long, we were finally free. One man didn't come out.
He's nice, Mom. But when he looked at his computer, he just kind of stopped talking.
Computer?
Inside that briefcase.
We recovered this photo from a body in the remains of a fighter jet. I should have realized it earlier, that she was the daughter of the pilot we found. You have to leave now. Get as far away from here as you can.
But why? We finally regained control of our city.
They're coming from the sky. There is a plan of operations designed to destroy everything in this city and all the people in it. I read the order myself.
What do you mean? Isn't there something we can do?
I don't want any more harm to come to this city and its people, but at the same time, as a soldier of Estovakia, there are certain obligations I must meet. It is my duty, and I am loyal to my country. This is all I can tell you.
Mr. Wojciech.
Yes, I am Wojciech. But that...
Lieutenant Tosha Michsik is a man who is very dear to me. I was invited to a ceremony at the base 2 years ago, and remember seeing you there. You were his teacher, weren't you?
Yes.
And it is true that you are no longer flying.
Correct.
So then, you must have come here on ground duty. And now, you've grown close to those children. I was foolish. I carelessly crossed over to this side of the border, and I was fortunate enough to meet Melissa on the way. We have grown to be very close. Yes. If I had not been driving through the wide open plains here in your country, we would have never crossed paths. You've lost your wings, but you've gained the land in return. Now you can see the sky as these people do, the people living here on this land. Wojciech, Are you really going to sit here and let the sky fall down on these people?
This is the weapon that's moving towards the city as we speak. Since it was built in haste, parts of it are still incomplete. Its vulnerable points are described in this data. I need you to get this information to the pilots in the air somehow.
That's right, boys and girls. Our pilots just dipped their wings for us out there, and it is a beautiful sight. Those are my heroes, dancing with angels.
There was a wedding that took place in the field of the prison camp.
I do.
And I was honored to be the best man. Tosha and Ludmila are truly a match made in heaven. Tosha flew as wingman for Lieutenant Commander Pasternak. In battle, Pasternak took the brunt of the battle alone and left Tosha to live another day. We are not cowards for doing this. Surviving is nothing to be ashamed of. I stand here as the grass sways peacefully in the wind. I'm all the more convinced we made the right choice. A coup d'etat led to the overthrow of the generals, and the military regime was brought to an end. A ceasefire agreement is to be arranged between our two nations next week. We can finally return to our homeland.
I never thought in a million years I'd be one of the guys to lose his wings. Guess I'll just have to stick it out in this wheelchair until I heal up. Then I've got rehab to worry about. A real pain is what they tell me. But I'm actually feeling pretty good about this. If only my wife and daughter could have joined me to enjoy this. That's the only other thing I could have asked for. The Golden King is shining bright up on a tank in the plaza. His smile brings a sense of happiness to everyone. And now, I'm off to meet the mother and daughter behind those unforgettable voices from the radio. They're all smiles here. A whole legion of angels. Makes me feel like I've got my wings back. Talisman. This is it. This is what we've been fighting for.